Excelente. Good night. Good night, dear colleagues. How are you today? I hope you have a good week. Now, this week, most of us are on vacation. So I think that we are enjoying a little of free time. So before we start with this last lesson, that it's lesson 4, good evening, Fernanda. Good evening, Rudy. How are you? So today we are going to we're going to finish, with the lesson of teaching writing. But before this, I want to remind you something. I'm going to do it in Spanish, so we have no problems with this. Regreso un ratito al español para nuevamente recordarles, por favor, para que puedan recibir su certificado, necesitan haber completado todas las actividades que están en el Classroom. Entonces, por favor, para aquellas personas que todavía no lo han hecho, sería bueno que lo hagan para que puedan recibir su certificación. Como siempre, la asistencia va a ser presentada al final de la clase por medio de... Ok, Alejandro, está como PDF, pero lo voy a revisar, no te preocupes. Como siempre, el link de la asistencia va a ser presentado por el chat por aquí y también por el chat del Classroom en WhatsApp. Okay, so today, as I said, we're going to finish with teaching writing. Okay, that's the last skill that we're going to see. And also, we're going to have some activities that we are going to use for this skill. Okay. Okay. Okay, just a minute. Here it is. Okay. Now, today we're going to finish with this lesson. Remember that today you're going to have your exam, okay? Once we finish this lesson, you are going to have your exam. So there are 10 questions, multiple choice question, and it's over 20 points. You need to pass this exam so you're going to be able to get a certificate, okay? Now, let's see. Let's start. Good evening, everyone. How was your vacation? Good? Yes? No? You're not on vacation, Rudy? Oh. Soon you will be on vacation. I know that it's going to happen. Don't worry. Everybody needs a rest at this time. Actually, I was finishing with some comments that I had to do about my tutoring class, but everything okay, relaxing a little bit. Oh, not yet. Just a student. Yes, we need to relax. Yeah, actually, I was reading the other day that one of the most stressing jobs is being teachers. So we do need some vacation. They're necessary. Yes. It's because of the emotional charge, I think, that we need to deal with every day. I think it has to do with this and the psychology that we need to use every day, especially in primary, elementary, even secondary, but they are bigger, so they are different to treat. Yeah, Helen, on vacation, very good, excellent. Okay, guys. So, as I was saying, today, at the end of the class, you are getting an exam. You need to pass the exam, okay? Remember that it's all that we have been talking about, the skills, how to teach the skills, and what is good to improve these kind of skills, why it's important to teach them, and what are we going to get if our students are able to do these things. Again, thank you for joining me this afternoon. I'm sorry for last class that I was with a terrible flu actually, but now we're good. So let's do this. Now, lesson 4, teaching writing, okay? The purpose of this lesson is going to be the participants will be able to identify what? The principles of teaching writing skills, ways of assess writing, strategies and activities to teach writing. Okay, participants will discuss how writing principles could influence their classroom practice, Participants will review the update writing portfolio assignments and discuss ways to guide students to complete the assignments successfully. Why this is important? Especially the part where we're going to be able to guide our students to complete the assignment successfully. What we have been talking all our classes, okay? What happens if my student has not cleared the goal that I'm setting for them in my class? What is going to happen? Are they going to be able to do the task that I'm asking if they don't understand what they have to do? What do you think? Okay, not at all, doing nothing. Exactly. If we don't set the goal, if we are not clear with our goal and the assignment and the task and even the rubrics that we are going to use or the checklist that we're going to use, our students are not going to be able at all to do the task that we want them to complete or fulfill. And also, we are not going to be able to evaluate correctly because they are not doing what they need to do, right? So in this case, when we talk about any task, if it's speaking, reading, listening, writing, reading, whatever we are asking, whatever skill that we are working, it is very, very important for our students to know what's the goal, what we have set to that task. If we are doing listening, if we are doing speaking, or especially with speaking and writing, that are the skills that they are going to create, we need to give them the rubrics clear. We can use also a checklist. For example, when they work with speaking, when they work with writing, I use little charts as a checklist that I give to them so they know what I am going to evaluate on the task or the assignment that I'm asking. For example, if I say, today we're writing an essay and you are going to fulfill from 150 to 190 words, for example, I need to let them know that I'm going to be aware of use of grammar, use of vocabulary, coherence on the writing, that they fulfill the words that I'm asking, that they have, that the text or whatever they're doing have a tendency, okay? So they know what I am going to evaluate. It's going to be easier for them to do what I'm asking if they have it clear, okay? Don't forget this. Participants will discuss how writing principles could influence their classroom practice. Remember that we have been working with the skills, and all the skills has principles when we teach them. Today we're going to discuss if you think that it's important to teach writing and if the principles are actually taking us to this goal, okay? So let's see. We learn to swim if there is a body of water available and using only if someone teaches us. We learn to write if we are members of a literal society and usually only if someone teaches us. Do you think that these quotes are true? Come on, let me know in the chat. Do you think they are true? Do you think that they are telling something that actually we live every day with our students? I read you. What do you think? Do you think actually we learn to write if we are members of a literate society and usually only if someone teaches us? There is a way that we can learn how to write without a teacher or without a mentor? What do you think? I read you. Come on. No, we can't. No, of course, we can learn by ourselves. Yes, there is people that actually is able to learn a lot of things by themselves. Autodidactas, they are called. Okay. Okay, Rudy is the only one here. Come on, I have more students. Yeah, Rudy, a star for you. My star student today. For pleasure, okay, we can, but it's not easy. Very good, Kathy, that's true. Actually, The skill that is more difficult to learn is writing more than speaking, because speaking has this emotional issue that we need to go with. But in writing, we need to know how to handle grammar, how to handle vocabulary. And if we don't have this knowledge, we are not going to be able to do it, even if we want. We can learn by ourselves, but it's better if we have a guide. Yes, it's easier with a mentor. That's true. Very good, Milagro. Thank you. Kari, not entirely, because we're not going to have the whole information. Very good. The context, we learn from each other. Okay, this also depends on the level that we're dealing with. Yeah, that's true. It's going to be easier for an advanced learner or an intermediate learner to learn more things by themselves that if we ask a beginner to learn how to write without a mentor. That's true. Okay, isn't as easy as we think. Yes, it's not easy. It's actually more difficult. And you know what we struggle the most? With our concentration. When you are learning something by yourself, your concentration is going to be weaker than if you are paying attention to a teacher or to someone that is telling you what to do. Because with pair works or dialogues or conversations, we learn more than when we learn by ourselves. Okay, very good. What else? We can imitate, but we have to know the syntax, orthography, rules, and process. Yeah, that's true. That's why it's important that we have mentors. Okay, it's easier if we have mentors, because we can have a lot of books. We can read a lot of books. For example, when I started getting a knowledge of skills, it was because, do you remember that editorials before pandemics, they used to do these fairs where they have these chats and we got some contests, and one of them that I worked with it like for a long time, when you arrive early to these chats or these fairs, they give you this ticket that it was a little bird, and you can like have a gift at the end of the fair because you came early. It was for the first 10 people. I don't remember exactly, but once I got one, and they gave me these very big books that they were about teaching skills. Actually, each of the books were about one of the skills. So when I started reading, I must say that for a minute I got bored. It was a lot of information, and it wasn't summarized. It was like not in an order that it was easy to understand. So I had to read it like for three or four times to understand. And I started highlight some parts, underline other things, so I could understand what they were talking about, because they didn't only talk how to teach the skill, also how to evaluate it. And they gave you some rubrics, they gave you some checklists, and a lot of things that were helpful for you and your class. Okay, we need someone to guide us. Yes, it's easier, that's true. Most students get confused as they are writing. They're thinking in Spanish rather than English. Yes, the early bird, yes. I just love that. I miss that a lot, actually. But the thing is that when we're teaching English, as we talk in the first lesson, we struggle a lot with the mother language, because our students are used to thinking in Spanish. They are used to talking in Spanish. So we need to change that for them and let them know that actually, yeah, you are going to think in Spanish, but you also need you need to learn how to think in English. Because if we're trying to translate, the translation is not going to be what you want to say. It's going to be like, it's going to sound good in your head, but not when you speak or when you talk to other people. So that's why we need to give them the vocabulary in English for them to connect this with the pictures, with the situations, with the context in English. It's easy? No, it is not. And we need to be very, very patient with this. Because if we try to make them think in English, the first term that we have them, they're going to get scared because they are not going to be able to do it. They're going to think it's too difficult. So what we need to do is to create an environment where they start connecting with the words, with the situations, with the phrasal verbs that we use every day. For example, when we're teaching elementary, when we're teaching primary, for early years especially, what do we do? What's the first thing that we do when we enter the classroom? Who can tell me that? What is the first thing we do when we enter to the classroom? What do? We say hello, right? And have happened to you that you end up being Miss Hello because they don't know what your name is? I had a friend that was a kindergarten teacher, that she has been teaching kindergarten for almost, I don't know, 5-6 years. And until now, she's Miss Hello. No one knows her name. And when she got her presents for Teacher's Day, it was for Miss Hello, because they are very small and they just relate her with the word hello, because she entered to the classroom saying, hello, guys. So she's Miss Hello. But students remember the word and they remember to say hello when she arrives. So she's getting there. She's getting what she wants, even if she has no name, no, but she's getting what she wants. So the idea for this is that we start creating this environment for our students where they connect the pictures, where they connect what we want to say, what we're trying to make them understand in English. I know that it happened to me. My little kids used to call me Miss Hello. Yes, Helen, it happens a lot, especially with the tiny ones. Yes, tiny humans are very fun. I remember that when I have to substitute for someone in elementary or early years, it was very fun for them because you tell them something, and they actually believe whatever you are saying. If you say that, I don't know, the sun is a square, they are going to believe that it's a square. They are very innocent, but they are beautiful. Every year, every student, every age have their own magic, as I say. So we need to look for that magic, to find that magic in our students. When we love what we're doing, it's easier for us to teach and it's easier for them to learn. So my little students used to call me Miss Ruti Fruity. Oh, so sweet. Yeah, they're very, very caring. I love that age because they are so caring. They hug you a lot. We are their star. Yes. Actually, they admire you so much that they want their parents to be like you. And you know this because when you like see them in the street or, I don't know, cross them somewhere, they start yelling, Mama, and you feel like a superstar. I have never felt so famous as when I arrived to my school and my students start, Miss, and I'm like, oh my God, even Britney is jealous of me right now. I'm sorry. Because they love you and they admire you. So what we need to do is get that and use it for them to learn better from us, because they know, they expect us to give them something that they don't have. So we need to use that to get their concentration, to get their focus on us. In the minute that my student is aware that I don't know what I'm talking about, or that I didn't read my lesson, or that I didn't plan my class, that day, my student is not going to trust in what I'm teaching, because he's going to realize that I don't know or that I'm not prepared. So that's what we can't do. We can't lose the trust of our students. For example, I am going to ask a simple question. Last class that I was sick and I was feeling terrible, obviously my character, my mood, my way of talking was different than today. And you realize that. So that is going to be important part to getting our students to focus on us. Because if you see that your teacher changed the voice, changed the movements, or start talking to you, or ask you for your opinion, for your participation, you are going to connect with the class. We have discussed this before. Okay, so look at this picture. Tell me, how do you expect me to write with this? It doesn't even have a USB port for a keyboard. Tell me, is this familiar to you? Is this familiar to you? A little bit? Yes? Yes, it is, right, Milagro? Yes, it is. And who can tell me why is this picture so familiar to us? They are C generation. Yes, Delia, exactly. They are actually so attached to technology that when we give them a pen and a paper and say, write, they look at you and, ay, writing, qué flojera. Miss, my hand is hurting. Because they are connected to technology. And also because they have been 2 years inside of their houses without writing, because they had the computer. It was all G-Forms or Google Documents or Jamboards or worksheets, or they didn't use their notebooks. But why? Because we weren't there to make them right. Because it happened a lot that okay, copy this exercise, and they didn't do it. And we weren't at their home with them to make them right. So when my students came back, I was a tutor of 5th grade when they came back from pandemics and from isolation. And they had the handwriting of a 2nd or 3rd grade student. Their handwriting was not a 5th grade student's handwriting. Why? Because they didn't write at all. They didn't remember how to use tildes. They didn't remember how to use punctuation. It was amazing how they just erased this skill from their brains. They got used of using to use the computer for everything. So it was easier, yes, but we need them to write. We need them to be able to take notes. We need them to be able to have their own ideas, to express their own ideas. They can write by themselves. I have the situation in my 3rd grade class. Yes, they can produce text. And in 3rd grade, 3 years ago, we were able to give them instructions, and they gave you a text, a paragraph, a story, whatever you ask. Right now, they can't do it, not yet. And we need to keep struggling with this. We need to keep going and going and going with the same things until they come back, because they have this space, this blank space of isolation, that it is there, is still there. We can't erase it, but we need to work on getting over it. So I have 5th grade students and they don't know how to write properly. Yes. And you realize this because you actually can see their handwriting, and they still have this line handwriting. They don't use a script as we did before in 5th or 6th grade. I have students in secondary that still have primary students handwriting. Secondary, I'm talking about 4th, 3rd secondary, and they still have the handwriting of a sixth grade student or a beginner. Yes. Writing is like spider legs. Yeah, no to mention spelling. Yes, Yvonne. Vocabulary, they have lost the vocabulary. Actually, we have all lost a lot of our vocabulary. For example, before isolation, it didn't cost me that much to find the words because I used to speak every day with my students. But in isolation, we used to use like short comments, short sentences, not a fluent conversation. So we adults have lost vocabulary, and also our students, of course. It's natural. They're spelling, yes, because they don't know the rules. When they have been away from us, they haven't been memorizing things that they need to know. And we need to struggle with this right now, especially in writing. Because, for example, if I try to teach my students to, okay, today you are going to write your daily routine for me. But if they don't know that they need to add an S in third person in singular, how are they going to be able to tell me what was their mom doing, for example, or what was their teacher doing, if they are not able to know how to change the action? They don't know the spelling rules. They don't know the grammar rules. And this actually, even if we don't want, we need to let them know that they need to memorize this. There is no way that they are going to know how to do it if they don't study. For example, I can teach you how to change regular verbs. That's easy. But how am I going to teach you to change irregular verbs, for example? If you don't memorize the irregular verbs, there is no way for you to know. And you're not going to be able to use them. That's the truth. But we need to be there because students are not used to use their memory anymore. And outside of school, people think that if we use memory, we are not teaching properly. They don't know that actually practicing, experience, and memory are all together for teaching something. There are things that I can't learn by doing. There are things that I need to learn by memory. Traditional teaching, actually, the best way of teaching is getting the best of traditional with the best of the modern teaching and making a hybrid. There are things that they are going to need to memorize. For example, who can tell me? We did this lesson 2, I think it was, when we were talking about speaking. Why we need to make them, I don't know, memorize poems or singing songs or learning songs? Why is it important for them to know the color song or the number song? It's memory, it's traditional teaching, but why do we need to make them learn this? If we can just show them the colors and make them identify this in their environment by experience, why is it important for them to memorize a poem or a song? Because they internalize it. Okay, yes, that's good to make them get familiar with pronunciation. Exactly. Everything that we teach, even if it's traditional or non-traditional, it's attached to what we want them to learn. If I want to make them improve their pronunciation, improve their fluency, but I am working with beginner students that are not going to be able to have a conversation with me, I need to work pronunciation in something that they can remember. I give them dialogues, I give them songs, I make them read. It's traditional teaching? Yes, it is. Am I improving pronunciation? Yes, I am. But the thing is that we need to know when to use traditional teaching, when to use modern teaching, when we want them to do something by experience, when we want them to create something. Remember that the new taxonomy says that now we don't use nouns like analysis or evaluation. In 2001, Bloom's taxonomy changed into actions. And the top of the pyramid says that I need to make them create something. If my student is able to learn and to create something over what he has learned, with what he has learned, he has learned. If he's not able to create something with this, he hasn't learned or she hasn't learned anything. So that's what we need to be sure, that they can create things with what we're giving them, okay? And now that we are struggling with this blank space of that where technology took over learning, we need to go back to some traditional things as writing, because it is important. And it's important for them, for su motora fina, su motora gruesa, and also for them to be able to have their own ideas, to express themselves in a written message without a computer, without a cell phone. They're not going to have technology by hand all the time. When we're doing like the groceries buy, for example, the groceries buy, do you go with your computer? Do you go with your iPad? No, you go with your list and your pen. You need to be able to write. It is important. Okay. Considerations for writing, okay? Process versus product. We need to be aware of this. The process versus the product, authenticity, voice, and identity, okay? These considerations are going to be important to this process. So, what we're going to discuss right now, what is process approach to teaching writing? What do you think process approach means to teaching writing? So in the WhatsApp, I have it in a site so I can read it. In the chat, come on, tell me, what is a process approach to teaching writing? What do you think it is? What comes to your mind when I read this? There is no bad answer. They are all ideas, and we're getting the answer from all the ideas that we have. Right now, we are 37 in the room, so I want to see 37 messages. Come on, you can do it. Strategy that control our imagination. Very good, Rudy, as always, my star student. Excellent, the first one to participate. Excellent, very good. What else? Come on, everyone. What do you think is process approach to teaching writing? What comes to your mind? Maybe nothing comes to your mind. The miss is talking things that I don't know what she's talking about. What do you think? What can you guess? Come on, guess. There is no bad answer. This is not graded. Go. Guess, give me ideas, instructions, write about inserts and experiences, monitoring and giving some tools and advices to write. Very good. What else? What else? Okay, the link to the classroom is in the chat in case you don't have it. So you can finish your task for your certification. All the strategies the teacher gives to students to get a good writing, very good. Monitoring and giving some tools and advices to write. Very good, excellent. The steps we follow to write a text, good. Brainstorming, organize ideas to create a very first draft, good. The first draft is actually something that we're going to see on the steps of writing, that it is very important. Because when we work writing, we need to give them, depends on the level of the students, 2 or 1 first or 1 draft, 2 drafts until the final draft, and we need to give them the feedback. Very good. Encourage students to produce, good. Model, analyze a text, and then the writing process. Yes, we are, it has to do something, well, a lot with the writing process, good. It gets students can show what they have get in the input. Yes, exactly. The process approach is going to be all that you have said, the instructions that we are going to give our students, the clear instructions, rubrics, checklists that we are going to give our students so they know what we need, what we want them to do, what they need to fulfill, what they need to do. Okay? All writing as a creative act which requires time and positive feedback to be well done. Yes, actually, we need to give them feedback. Positive, we try to focus on positive, but we need to give them feedback. If a student makes a mistake and I don't correct, he's going to go with the wrong answer thinking it's right because I didn't correct that in the moment. So I need to correct my student. I need to correct my student in a positive way, but I need to make him aware that he needs to check his answer, his way of speaking, his way, how he's using the grammar tenses, whatever I need to check, okay? Writing and, okay. So, do you see resistance to this in your classroom? Has happened to you that you think that students struggle with writing, beside that what we already know, that is that they get tired, their hand hurts, that they don't want to write because it's boring or because they don't like the topic that we're giving them? So what do you think? What do you think happens that you need to struggle with in your class to teach writing? Depends on motivation. Okay, yeah, that's true, Milagro. If they're motivated and they like the topic, they are going to do it. They're going to happily do it. My students, for example, love writing when I get them Chromebooks. But if I use paper and pen, they are like, ay, miss, qué flojera. And they are fourth secondary. So yeah, they need to be motivated, right? Are there alternatives to teaching writing as a process? Do you think that we can have or get different ways of teaching writing? Or there is only a process and we need to follow the process? What do you think? For example, we can start with a crazy paragraph, a poem in the shape of a diamond. Yes, Milagro, very good. That's actually very good ideas because they love gaming. Because it is a hardest skill. Yes, it is. It is a hardest skill. Even that if speaking has an emotional charge, this is the hardest one because here they need to use all the knowledge that they have in their little minds to get what we're asking them to do. They need to use a lot of information. They don't find specific words or phrases to produce the text. They always think in Spanish and they want to translate. Yes, that's true. And this is something that we're going to struggle with all the students that we have all the long of our lives, because it's going to be easier for them to think in Spanish, even if they think it's easier to translate if they want to speak in English. They don't know that it's more difficult. They don't realize that they waste a lot of time. We can do in pairs or small teams first. Yes, this is going to help a lot. Actually, pair work is going to help a lot. They are afraid of not finding the right wording to express their ideas. Yes, that's true. And most of the time, they don't remember the words because they have lost a lot of vocabulary. Because they must connect thinking and writing, but they think in Spanish all the time. Yes, that's true. We need to struggle with this. That's a reality. That's something that we English teachers need to deal with every day, Spanish. And even us, when we want to say something that we want them to fully understand, we use Spanish. Because if not, they are going to lose some information that we're giving them. So the thing is that Spanish sometimes is going to be a help, but not a tool to teach English. Remember this. We need to use Spanish only in cases of emergency, not as something that we're going to use every time that we think our students do not understand what we have said. Okay. They can simulate an example just changing vocabulary, yes, but remember that we need to make them improve their vocabulary, because if they're always using colloquial words, they are not going to be able to pass the levels if they want to give exams. For example, for proficiency or for advanced English, you can't use colloquial words. They ask for formal words or formal vocabulary. So we need to push them to look for more words and to find the vocabulary that they want to use. That's why we need to teach them how to use dictionaries. They have lost this too. For example, for me, getting them to use the dictionaries was most difficult than teaching English. After a short reading, they can do similar text to start. Yes, examples are very important when we teach writing. Giving examples, especially for beginners, it's very important. It is going to be good for them. So because they are going to have an exact example of what we want to teach. Since it is connected to speaking, it's difficult for them to think in English first. Also, lack of vocabulary and grammar, something they have to deal with. Yes, that's true. They don't know how to use dictionary either. Yes, they have lost the idea of the dictionary as a tool. Actually, they say, oh, it's too heavy. That's why I don't bring it. Yeah, that's true. Google, yeah, but remember that when we let them use Google, some of our students, not all, but some of our students are not going to use Google as a dictionary. They're going to use it as a translator. I'm not sure I understand. And we have also the problem with Google Translator, ChatGPT, and things that started being tools that right now we're struggling with this because our students are using them to create what they are supposed to create by their own. Artificial intelligence started being a tool. Right now, there are a lot of programs to detect because they're even presenting theses made by artificial intelligence, not by students. Use monolingual dictionary depending the level. Yes, that's true. They can also use Spanish English because it's not going to give them the whole sentence, but it is going to give them the context of the word. It's not bad if we use it as a dictionary. The problem is that they use it as a translator. That's the problem. Okay, something that prevents them from writing correctly is using a bilingual dictionary. Yes and no, because as I said, they can have the context, but not the translation. So they are going to be forced to change the word. So it can be used. What we can't let them use at all are translators. Okay, How to teach writing. Writing lessons need to be isolated, dull experiences, and that when the time is used well, there is plenty of benefits to using class time for writing work. Here are some ways to teach writing in a communicative way. Remember that we talk about the communicative approach, especially on teaching English. Here we can use it too. The context. Set the context of the lesson in the first stage of the class to give students a task to discuss, predict, identify, consider, and apply to their own experience, okay? How are we going to motivate our students? We need to give them a context. For example, my students last week needed to do an essay about artificial intelligence. And to start this class, I connected to the computer my Siri, my assistant from iPhone, and we start the class making questions to Siri. So they got like motivated because they were playing with the assistant. And then we discussed how this was a tool, how this was good for them or not good for them, positive side, negative side, and they realized if they had a side or not, if they were pro or con, and they were able to make their own essay based on their own opinion and supported by the information that they brought. But they had the context because they were living the experience. Audience, a key determiner of a successful piece of writing is the writer's ability to consider who they are writing to. If we don't tell them who are they writing to, they're not going to be able to connect with this person. For example, when they ask, okay, you're writing an essay about artificial intelligence today. Okay, miss, to whom? To me. So they write as they were speaking to me. So it's easier for them to do this. Leave it for the page. Give students opportunities to get up, moving things, move themselves, interact, and share ideas. This increases the range of information and language they have at their disposal. Dictionaries, Chromebooks, Google, and things that we have, tools that we have in our classroom are going to be good for them. We need to give them active pauses too, because if we sit them for 2 hours, even if they are pedagogical hours, okay, you are having 2 hours to make an essay and they don't stand up, remember that our concentration only lasts for 20 minutes. If we are not able, adults, to focus more than 20 minutes in an activity, beginners or young learners are not going to be able to focus more than 10 minutes. We need to make them change the activity. Okay? Let them respond. Give them the right of reply because it increases exposure to and processing of written conventions for the text they use and reflect the way written communication works most of the time. They need to be able to ask for reasons too, okay? To have a conversation, a fluid conversation with their friends and with you, if they need something for you to be explained or else. Okay, what are the characteristics of the effective writing? As learners develop as writers, they demonstrate that they can engage the readers because they are writing for someone to read this. Adapt the writing to suit the audience and purpose of the piece. Use grammatical and stylistic features to ensure clarity. Achieve the right tone and create particular effects. Use a range of sentence structures. Organize the writing, linking ideas coherently and using paragraphs effectively. Choose and use appropriate vocabulary. Use punctuation to clarify the meaning. Use a range of strategies to enable them to spell correctly. Present the writing appropriately, either by hand or by using information and communication technology. This is what we have been discussing all this time, okay? What we need them to have for the writing to be effective. The writing process. Actually, we have talked about this. This is the basic writing process. We are talking about beginners, young learners, pre-write. Then we're going to develop this a little bit. In pre-writing means that we need to order our ideas. For this, we can use organizers, mind maps, and a lot of things that they are going to be able to use, okay? So, plan and outline. What plan they are going to follow? What's the structure they are going to use for an essay, for a paragraph, for a personal opinion, or else, whatever we're asking. Write a first draft. Then it's important for us teachers to read this first draft so we can revise. We can give them the feedback that they need to make the last or the final draft or the second draft. It depends on the level. Okay, redraft and revise. After we have given them the feedback, they are going to be able to revise and do the second draft or the final draft or whatever we are asking. Edit and profit, okay? They need to have their final draft and then they're going to deliver this, okay? The writing process. Writing is a process that can be divided into three stages: pre-writing, drafting, and the final revising stage, which includes editing and proofreading. In the first stage, you research your topic and make preparatory work before you enter the drafting stage, okay? What happens to this? When we are pre-writing, we can use as a tool or a help the graphic organizers. At the end of this session, I am going to show you some of the organizers that they can use for the pre-writing, okay? Pre-writing, a student lists words that relate to their spring break. For example, that's an example. The pre-writing, word list, what are they going to write, activities that they're going to use, vocabulary. The drafting, students write 3 paragraphs about spring break and the baseball game using complete sentences. They are going to start making sentences. This is drafting. They make sentences, they give ideas, separate ideas. It's not a text, it's not a paragraph, yet there are separate ideas about the topic that they're going to work. Revising, the student reads the paragraphs and realizes that there are a few irrelevant details. Here, we are going to get all the ideas together. We're going to create a text or a paragraph, and then we're going to revise if all the information that we're using is actually necessary, because it needs to have coherence, remember, okay? Now, the authenticity. What types of writing are students more likely to do in the real world? Forms, emails, letters, job applications, resumes, okay, summaries, etc. It means that they are going to be able to put themselves into a meaningful, a real situation, so they know that they're getting some benefit out of this. This is going to help us a lot when they need to write, because they know that they're going to need it. What other types of writing that are important for your students? Writing for academic purpose, okay? Presentation letters, their resume, essays, journalism, storytelling, okay? But it needs to be authentic. It needs to have a meaningful situation for them to be able to learn, okay? Why it is important to teach writing? I'm going to share to you right now a Jamboard, the link of a Jamboard. Why do you think it's important, or what is the purpose of teaching writing skills? So just a minute. Anyone with a link? Copy link, done. Exactly. Okay, right now the link is on the chat. Remember that you need to create a note with a color with your idea. The notes are without a name, okay? They're anonymous. So you just go with your ideas. If you have more than 2 ideas, you can put them all, okay? Make a note with why do you think it's important for us to teach writing skills. The link of the Jamboard is on the chat. Come on. Yeah, excellent. I already have some students that are joining. Good. I am going to share my screen. There it is. Let me see your notes. Come on. Try not to erase the instructions, please. The other day, someone erased my instructions. Come on, everyone, hurry up. Make your notes, come on. I can see that a lot of you are connected. I only have one note. Allows the students to develop creative and critical thinking skills. Good. What else? What else? What else do you think that the writing skills are going to do for them? It is a way of expressing themselves. Good, excellent. What else? What else can we say about purpose of teaching writing skills? Why is it so important? Helps students to develop communication skills, critical thinking abilities. Good. What else? Come on. I have 40 students and only have 4 notes. To express what they think by writing. Good. Excellent. To express what they think by writing. Through writing, students prove themselves they are at other skills. Yes, they challenge themselves with the other skills, because if they don't know how to speak, they're not going to be able to write. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Because writing is connected to communicative skills. Good. Writing and speaking goes by hand. We can't write if we don't speak. We can't speak if we don't write. Okay? Speaking is going to be the first step for writing. Okay, let's move this note over here. What else? Come on, we have 5 notes. Come on, guys. This is our last class. So next Tuesday, you're going to be able to miss me. See? Come on, I want to read you. Come on. They can communicate. Very good, Karim. Thank you so much. Yes, they can communicate. What else? What else? Come on. I have a lot of students here connected to the Jamboard, but only 5 notes. Come on, guys. Show me the knowledge. Don't worry, Karin. Don't worry. I am reading your participation here, so it's perfect. It is also a way to organize our ideas. We reflect on them when we write. Good. Yes. Thank you, Milagro. Improves imagination and creativity. Excellent. Yes, that's true. They can integrate all the skills to communicate as effectively. Very good. Purpose of teaching, writing skill. That was mine, sorry. Okay, good. Yes. Since writing allows them to edit and amend mistakes, it will be a meaningful experience. Yes, that's true. Actually, all the ideas that you have given are correct. It's going to let them be able to express in a written way, but not also express themselves, also challenge themselves with all the other skills, because they are going to need to have information to be able to speak in a written way, to be able to listen, to get information. So all the skills are going to be involved somehow. Why is it important to teach writing? Writing is an essential component of productive language. And ESL will need to demonstrate their ability to write in English if they hope to be competitive in a globalized world. Building competency of English language writing supports reading comprehension, vocabulary expansion, and oral fluency. So there is so much to be gained. And even if your students don't plan to use the lingua franca on a regular basis, the skills gleaned from learning to write in another language transfer to all facets of life, making students more aware and more effective communicators in their native language. Teaching ESL writing aids in self-expression, which might be particularly meaningful for individuals who are hesitant to express themselves verbally. This is going to help us when our students don't want to speak, because remember that they get embarrassed, they don't want to say things that are not okay. So we can use writing, because if they read, they're going to be able to speak, and they are going to have the confidence that they are reading something. You might have the next Henry David or Gabriel Garcia Marquez in your class. Who knows? Okay. Why do we teach writing? We have discussed this in the Jamboard. Why is it important to teach writing? Because it's going to be our students more proficient, and they're going to be able to connect with others in a formal way. Okay, so reasons for writing. Writing improves communication skills. Writing helps students review and remember recently learned material, to take notes. Writing helps educators assess students' learning. Writing encourages creativity and exploration, and writing is essential for self-understanding. Have you heard that when your emotions are like all mixed up and you are sad or angry, they say write them down? When you suffer from anxiety or stress, the therapist, the psychology, or whoever is helping you recommends to use a diary. Why? Because when we write, we can organize our ideas better. We can let our head to have a visual aid of what's going on with us. And it's easier for us to order our ideas, okay? Right now, we are going to watch a video about actually teaching writing, okay, as ESL. Just a minute. Okay, let me share this. Here it is. Sound. Excellent. Okay, guys, let's watch this. The writing process, a step-by-step guide to academic writing.
Did until the night before to write an essay and then scored poorly on it. The writing process is here to save you. First, what is the writing process? As the name suggests, it's a writing process you go through to write an essay to make it more manageable. Instead of a daunting set of mountains that you're not sure how to climb, the writing process is a series of steps you can take to complete your larger project. Good writers spend time thinking, brainstorming, researching, outlining, drafting, conferencing with others, revising, editing, and publishing. Let's go over each step. The first step is a thinking stage. When you get an assignment, spend time thinking about your purpose, experience with, and knowledge of the topic, and think about what questions you have about the topic. To get started, think about what kind of essay you're being asked to write, and ultimately, what are you being tested on? Once you know your purpose in writing the essay, then think about the topic you're focusing on. What do you know about the topic? What experiences have you had that might relate to the topic? What do you want to or need to know? And where will you find this information? After you've thought about your topic, purpose, and experience, start brainstorming. To do this, jot down your answers to your questions or topics you were thinking about. Don't put pressure on yourself to write the perfect sentence because brainstorming is messy and doesn't always need to make sense. You can write in concise bulleted lists or create a web or free write, but the point is to just start writing to explore your ideas. Next, if you need research or you find that a lot of the brainstorming consists of questions you can't yet answer, then start searching for sources and actively reading them to get the information you need for your essay. Be sure to find credible and reliable sources from authors who are experts in their fields. You can do this by using your library's databases or Google Scholar. After you've researched, you can start organizing and outlining your ideas. Look for common threads and create main topics that answer your prompt. Also, add subtopics to the main topics showing the evidence you'll use to support your ideas. Having a clearly organized outline with the evidence you need is a crucial step in the writing process that will make the actual writing of the paper much easier. With a clear outline, you're now ready to draft. When you draft, don't worry about perfection. Instead, write the essay to the best of your ability, knowing that you're giving yourself time to revise. By drafting an essay, you're fleshing out an outline and explaining how the ideas you listed are connected. If you don't have anything to say about certain topics, then drafting makes the potential holes in your essay apparent. This allows you to continue to do more research or go back to your brainstorming to choose other subtopics. Once you have a draft, you can conference with others. This stage of the writing process is very important because you'll get advice on what works well in your essay and what you can do to make your writing better. If you're peer editing and your partner mostly focuses on minor issues like spelling or grammar, ask them questions about the higher order concerns such as, what did you think about my thesis? Or do my topic sentences reflect the main idea of my paragraphs? If you don't have classmates who could look over your work, see if you can run it by your tutor or instructor. After conferencing, you can work on revising your essay. Don't confuse revising with editing. Revision requires you to rethink the major aspects of your essay, like your organization, use of evidence, or thesis statement. Focus on these global concerns and address what needs improvement. When the hard work of revising is done, you can move on to editing, which focuses on lower order concerns like grammar or spelling. One strategy is to read your work aloud to see if you stumble across any of these minor issues. The very last stage of the writing process is publishing. How will you turn in your essay? Do you need to print out a hard copy or submit it online? What about the formatting? Are you required to use APA or MLA formatting? Pay attention to the final touches to ensure you're meeting the requirements and properly turning in your work. The writing process takes time, but makes the act of writing the essay less stressful. The amount of time you spend on each part will vary depending on the length and complexity of your project. You know your limitations, so give yourself plenty of time to complete each part. It looks like Sarah put in the hard work and followed the writing process. If you found this information helpful, please like and subscribe for more content.
So, as we have seen, there is a process that is going to help us in our writing. Okay, we need to follow some steps, and we also can have some tips that are going to help us to develop a very more easy way of writing, reflecting. Indeed, writing is a way of releasing different kind of feelings. Yes, and it helps us to understand them because our head is able to coming from the abstract to the concrete thing, so the real thing. Okay. Voice and identity, the individual writing style of an author. Students discover themselves more fully in writing and express themselves. This is what we were talking about, emotions and how they're going to have their own identity and their own way of speaking, their own way of writing, okay? So, principles of writing. Articulate a vision for why writing matters. Protect time to write. We need to have a time to write. We can't do this in a rush because they are not going to be able to focus. Become a writer, celebrate writing, trust teachers. You need to trust that your teacher is giving you something that you don't know. Remember, this is very important. Provide time for teachers to collaborate, the feedback, support professional development and out of the classroom, assess students' writing and the teaching of it, share best practice in teaching writing in other administrators, okay? This is what the video show us. The route that we're going to follow, before we publish something. Rewriting, researching, drafting, revising the content, revising the organization of the content, editing if we think that something there is missing or that we need to take it out, proofreading, and then we publish. This is the road that we need to follow before we have our final draft, okay? So, principles for teaching writing. Teach, model, and explain practices of good writers. What we were discussing, okay? Remember that we need to have an example of what they're doing. If they are going to be able to know, to read something, to have an example, to follow an example, it's going to be easier for them to do the task that we're asking. Think about your students' backgrounds, what they like, what topics they are like connect to, attached to, what they are in their interests. I don't know. Make connections between reading and writing. Make them aware that they need to get the information. If they don't get the information, they are going to have missing words and vocabulary, missing information, because if I want an essay about the Second World War, they are not going to know the name of any of the people that was there because they are not going to remember. They need to read. Okay, authenticate writing as much as possible. Meaningful situations. Get students used to the steps of processing writing, the ones that we saw here. Okay, they need to have this road, follow. Okay, be kind but specific when giving feedback. This is what we were discussing. If they have a bad emotion attached to what they're doing, they're not going to want to do it anymore. If I say something that make them feel that they can't, that they don't, that they're not going to be able to do it, that they are not good at this, they're going to feel bad or embarrassed. So they're not going to want to do it anymore. Give clear instructions on forms or types of writing, rubrics, checklist, okay? So teach a model, explain practice of good writers. Good writers write a lot, are not afraid to write their thoughts freely, edit and revise, think about their audience, think about the format and know its structure. but are not married to the structure. It means that they can change the structure. In this case, I am giving you some target points that you are going to be able to follow. So you know that you can let your creativity go, okay? Make connections between reading and writing. We're only going to develop these two because are the most important. So students can write about what they read. Students can write in similar ways that authors have written on a sentence or a structural level. She raced fast, determined, her lungs bursting. He moves slowly, afraid, his heart pounding. Okay. Now, why do ESL students struggle with writing? Well, we were discussing, remember? We were talking about why do you think that our students struggle? We did in another language is not easy. It is only natural for your English second language learners or English first language learner students encounter difficulties when they ask to do so. First, it's essential to recognize that writing conversions differ from one language group to another. They can't translate from Spanish to English. That's a fact. Students from various linguistic backgrounds might declare that writing in English, particularly in an academic setting, is boring, something they perceive as formulaic. Often, these students come from backgrounds that value writing in a way that might seem tangential to native English readers. Okay, what are some tips for teaching ESL writing? What do you think that we can do to actually, I don't know, what activities do you think are going to make, copy a link, what activities do you think that are going to make easier for us to teach writing? Activities, okay? I am giving you the link of a Mentimeter so you can tell me which activities do you think are going to make easier for us to teach writing. I am going to share my, where is my Mentimeter? Here it is. Share. Okay. Now, activities to teach writing. Okay, only the activities. We don't write our names here. This is like a brainstorm cloud. Come on. Come on, come on. Give me ideas. What do you think? What do you think? Or which activities do you think are going to make easier to teach writing? The link of the Mentimeter is on the classroom. Come on. Order a sequence, copy a paragraph, and Scrabble sentences. Very good. What else? Come on, ideas. Come on, guys. You can give more ideas. You have 3 opportunities. Okay, give a paragraph as an exercise. Okay, Simon says, very good. Reading a text, context and public, order a sequence. Very good. Come on. What else? What else do you think that we can use in Scrabble sentences? Very good, Soraya. Thank you. What else do you think that we can use? Which activities do you think are going to make easier for us to teach writing? Come on. Come on, guys, that we need to finish. We only have 20 more minutes and then you have your exam. Yay. Come on. Very good. Set a plan. Excellent. Very good. Copy a paragraph on Scrabble sentences. Have you noticed that actually on Scrabble sentences and copy paragraphs are like more often in the screen? So it means that a lot of you think that are going to be better. Guessing with pictures. Good. Reading a text, change vocabulary, recognize a paragraph, shopping list, reading a text, set of questions, give titles or subtitles, very good. Order a sequence, create a text summary, good, excellent, very good, guys. Thank you so much for your participation. Yes, all of these things are going to be better for us to actually be able, wait a minute. Okay, so what are we going to do right now? We are going to continue with the tips that what are some tips for ESL writing, teaching ESL writing? Okay, don't underestimate the value of conducting needs assessments. Okay, wait, it came away. Okay, so this means that we need to lead our students. We need to make them aware of what we are teaching or what we want them to do. Sometimes we think that because we're giving the instructions, it's okay, they are going to understand. No, they are not. They need to have clear goals so they can do what we're asking them to do. Okay? When it comes down to how to teach writing skills, even if you're teaching a group that is considered a certain proficiency level, recognize that there is always going to be a range of experience and ability present. Spend time getting to know what your students have been exposed to and in what ways before deciding on your approach. Teach to the middle to ensure that no one is left behind. Okay, we need to know our public, we need to know our students. Think about how you can lower learners effectively filters. A large portion of all successful teaching comes from relationship building. In addition to getting a true sense of your learners' experience and abilities, try to understand their attitude towards writing as a process and any challenges that might be born from those attitudes. How can you increase your students' comfort level? How can you engage the individuals sitting in front of you? How can you connect with your students? How can you make them comfortable of giving you their ideas? Think about how the writing task can act as a building block for other assignments. Again, we have heard that we need to work writing as a separate skill. No, we can connect to other skills. It's the base to other skills. Okay, learning how to write in another language can be intimidating, and even more if your students don't enjoy writing in the first place. When wondering how to teach writing to students, think about how you can integrate writing more often and more seamlessly into the lesson plans. Instead of approaching writing in isolation, teach writing skills along other more engaging activities that students tend to enjoy more. We can use games, we can use speaking, we can use role plays, we can use videos, we can use pictures, we can use a lot of things that are going to be more fun to them to learn, to understand, and also to write. Write short stories, yes. Order a conversation, yes, very good. One way or another, our full skills are connected. Yes, Yvonne, that's true. They are connected. Present opportunities to examine authentic written language. Provide students with examples of the target language is non-negotiable, but challenge yourself to move beyond the sample text in your curriculum where possible. Students might feel bored by the selected word in the textbook. Go beyond that. Get what they interest. Play a little. Get them get their concentrations, their focus on what they're saying, okay? Lead with function over forming instructions and then alter your focus. Students can be discouraged to find their paper covered with red ink. Highlight their facilities. While it is important to provide corrective feedback, consider the purpose of the assignment before making up the composition. Remember that the feedback needs to be positive, okay? So, strategies for intermediate students. Facilitate a two-way journal experience, for example, with your students. Cultivate peer revision routines that they can make their own comments to their peers. Time writing. I need to know how much time is going to be for this task, and I need to have this by a timer. I need to have this time, okay? It is better if you use the timer on the screen, on the board with a sound so they know how much time they have left, okay? For beginners, try group writing process in class to get students comfortable. Make the most of brainstorming both individually and with others. Remember that for beginners, the problem is to get ideas. They are not going to have a lot of ideas because they are starting with the language. So we need to help them get the vocabulary and the ideas by brainstorming. It's like some group work, okay? This is actually very important, assessing the writing. The rubrics, we need to know what are we evaluating. And this goes hand by hand with our lesson plan. Self-evaluation, they need to be able to know if they are getting to the goals that I'm setting. How? Because I gave them the checklist so they know what I expect from them, so they can check if they have made it. Peer evaluation, informal discussions about writing, responding in written form to another student's writing. What activities do you think that we can use? Models, free writing, journal writing, assess writing samples as a class, writing contest, create a book or a newspaper. We also have dialogues, role plays, essays. We have a lot of exercises and activities that we can use for developing writing skills, okay? Here, as I said, here you are going to be able to find, the graphic organizers for free writing, okay? The hamburger, for example, the topic of the sentence or the title of what we're going to do. Supporting detail number 1, supporting detail number 2, supporting detail number 3, and the conclusion. This is used a lot for paragraphs, okay? We also have an organizers as brainstorm, the topic and all the ideas that we can get. Also, you have the mind, like the mind organizer, who did this, why, what it did, the feelings, what are you going to write about, where it happened, when it happened, more details. And then after these organizers, they are going to be able to create a paragraph or a text. Also, the mountain of research, introduction, body, and conclusion. This comes for essays, short essays or paragraphs, okay? Guys, to make some brackets, el link de la asistencia ya está en el chat, por si acaso, porque ya en 10 minutos terminamos la clase, entonces para que vayan abriendo el chat de la asistencia y puedan registrarse. Thank you so much. Okay, so to finish with today's class, what we are going to do, besides you check your attendance, is that I'm going to give you the link to a Padlet, to the Padlet. Remember that we have lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. Okay. What we are going to do today is that you are going to add in lesson 4, what are you taking from this lesson? Okay, what are you taking from this lesson? No sección. Wait. Okay, what are you taking from this lesson? Okay, and with this, we are going to finish with the lesson today. First, I want to see your comments in the Padlet, and then we are going to watch one last video so we can finish and you can get your exam. Again, once we finish our class today, I am going to upload the exam to the classroom. Okay, the exam is going to be available today for you to finish this. Attendance, class task, and the exam are the three things that you need to get your certificate. Okay? Yes? Okay, let me give you the Padlet. Okay, the link of the Padlet is now on the chat. Write what do you take from this lesson, and with this, we're going to finish with our Padlet. Here it is. As you can see, we have lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4. All your comments from all the lessons are here. So today we finish with lesson 4, teaching writing. Okay, what do you get? What do you get from this class? Come on. Okay, guys, what do you get from this class? Come on. Okay, very good, Alejandro. Different forms of writing, students learn to express themselves and develop creating skills. Okay, very good. What else? What else are you taking today from this class? Come on. Very good, Yvonne. Since all your skills are connected, writing allows the students to express themselves freely and naturally. Good, very good, Milagro. Excellent. I only have 3 comments. Come on, guys. This is important because participation is also checked for your certificate. Come on. Okay, I am going to stop sharing so I can actually upload in your classroom the exam. Exam is going to be available from now, okay? Try to finish. It's only 10 questions, multiple choice answers. It's very easy if you have paid attention to the class. Very important. Okay, guys, so the way we have been working, it's not going to be difficult for you to make the exam because it's actually most of the things that we have discussed. Okay? So don't worry. Lesson 4, finals. Okay. Ahora sí. Remember that after you send the form, you need to check the task as delivered, okay? Okay, guys, finish with the Padlet. Excellent. So that's very good. So that's going to be it for today. And I hope that you have enjoyed your class, okay? Bueno, con eso terminamos por el día de hoy. Espero que hayan disfrutado estas 4 sesiones y que les haya sido de ayuda lo que he podido aportar. Obviamente esto significa no que acá terminó, sino que uno que tiene que seguir averiguando, tiene que seguir leyendo, tiene que seguir investigando. Acá lo que hacemos es sembrar la semillita, pero la plantita crece en casa. Así que los invito a seguir estudiando todo y a seguir investigando y a seguir leyendo acerca de lo maravilloso que es enseñar inglés y todos los skills que podemos explotar con nuestros alumnos. Les agradezco muchísimo el haberme acompañado en estas sesiones, en haber podido estar con ustedes y para comentarles que el día 4 de agosto estamos abriendo nuevamente el curso de estrategias lúdicas en la enseñanza del idioma inglés conmigo, así que si me quieren volver a ver, los invito a acompañarme en esa sesión. Mucho gusto, muchísimas gracias por todo, han sido un público increíble, así que espero verlos en otro curso y en otra oportunidad.